Hey, it's Cris Chico, and if you are interested in learning how to find motivated sellers using Facebook advertising, then I've got a special treat for you. I just finished editing a 45-minute training video where I break down specifically, step by step, how to advertise on Facebook and how to find motivated sellers. I'm also going to give you a copy of one of my ads so you can see and you can implement my strategy. You can find that link in the comments section. And I want you to go ahead and as you watch the video, I want you to, in real time, I want you to be jotting down questions. So make a comment as these questions come up, and then what I'll do is I'll come back and answer those questions and reply to your comments. And who knows, I may do another video just on your questions. And make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Make sure that you click on the notification bell. Here comes the training. Hey, it's Cris Chico here with Virtual Wholesaling, flipanywhere.com, and most importantly, just me here, a real estate investor, and I'm here for a special training today. And today's training is going to be on online leads. Let me bring this up here so you can see here, online leads and how to generate motivated sellers and also buyers 100% online. And this training is here in my office here in South Florida. It's a little bit messy, but I cleaned it up just for you. And it is completely unscripted. Okay, I just had an itch in my ear and I had to scratch it, but I'm not gonna stop the video. I gotta remember to look at the camera angle. So I'm here today to share with you how you can generate leads online. Now, I want to see if I can make this video here concise, 25-30 minutes at the most. So I'm going to be talking fast. I've ingested a tremendous amount of caffeine. I have my water and I am ready to go here, and I have my notes because again, I had to think, wanted to make a note to make sure that I don't forget anything. And so again, what this training is about is going to be about tapping into another source of motivated sellers. Another source, meaning that I don't want you to go ahead and just throw everything away that you're doing right now to generate motivated sellers. And let me make an adjustment here. Okay, make it a little bit easier to adjust. There you go. So I don't want you to throw away everything you're doing with regards to motivated sellers. I don't want you to do that, but I want you to consider the possibility of beginning the journey of testing and of getting yourself up and running to be able to generate leads online, because your customers are online. And for those of you that may not know who I am, I'm going to give you a 1-minute introduction. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you this whole long drawn out story. If you don't know who I am, Cris Chico, I'm the creator of the entire virtual wholesaling movement. Back in 2003-ish, 4 is when I really started to explore the idea of going into markets that are outside my own market and doing deals in those markets. And through a lot of trial and error and a lot of testing, I was able to develop a system that then I shared with others, and that became the virtual wholesaling. And a lot of times, many of the people that you see here today that are even teaching virtual wholesaling, they've taken my system and have really expanded upon it. A lot of them were trained by me specifically through my materials. I'm also the originator and creator of a lot of the strategies that you might be using right now. I was one of the first guys that pioneered the use of 24-hour recorded messages in postcards. I was one of there's a variety of different postcards. One's called the attention postcard. One's the 1031 postcard. Postcards that had a lot of verbiage. Before my postcards came along, everybody just sent out postcards to say, "We buy houses cash." And I came up with these, really weird looking postcards with a lot of writing and really elaborate, and they got a tremendous response, and people used it and people got great results. I also then pivoted. I saw that those postcards were not working as well as they were in the past, and I came up with another methodology called blind copy marketing, which, let me show you. I have a couple of them here. You may have seen some of these postcards here. Let me see. Can you see that? Can you see that? Yeah, I think you could see that. Blind copy postcards, a property notification postcard as an example. These here, and there's a third notice postcards. All these were created by me. I was the originator of these. And so if you're using these postcards, if you're using 24-hour recorded messages, if you're using anything like that, then chances are that I helped you in some way, and you may not even know it. And so, you know, I have a history in the industry of being a pioneer, of seeing things that are happening and really making adjustments and moving in that direction. And that's what I'm here to talk to you today. So I finished with my first page, and there it goes. All right, so I want to share with you a story. How did this come about? How does my interest in online leads come about? And there was an interest in the past, a year ago, but the timing wasn't right. And I'll tell you why the timing wasn't right a year ago, and why maybe if you tried it a year ago, maybe if you had somebody try it for you a year ago, it didn't work, but now it does work. And so I went to this mastermind. I don't want to say what the mastermind was, or let me drink some water, or who was there at the mastermind. But I went to this mastermind. And one of the largest wholesalers really in the country was there, doing a lot of deals, and he was getting deals from a particular type of from a particular source, and with this source, he wasn't. And I asked him in the mastermind. I said, "Well, why aren't you doing direct mail? Why aren't you sending out postcards and sending out, trying to, get, off-market deals?" Because he was getting the deals from a source that's not private sellers, and I don't want to say what it was, so it doesn't matter, And he said, no, I don't want to do that because what we got is more systemized. It's very formulaic. And if I went out and I did postcards and I did seller marketing, then I would have to hire a sales team. I would have to train them. And I don't want to do any of that. We're doing just fine doing what we're doing. And so it made perfect sense to me. I said, okay, I get it. You're doing this. You don't want to go in another direction. And so that makes perfect sense. Now, I lost my train of thought. I thought, if you notice right there is my my poop head. Oh, where is it? Here we go, right there. Yes. All right. You can make a comment if you see a way to make a comment on this video. Make a comment. Maybe but make a good comment. Otherwise, you'll be the poop head. So anyway, I went ahead and so that was the first time I met the guy. This was earlier this year, and he had, pretty big operation, 16, 17 people. He had a lot of stuff going on. Then we meet again 4 months later. All right, and 4 months later, he says, "Oh, that lead source I had is diminished greatly. The staff I had has been shrunk, and I continue to shrink it. I'm moving in a different direction." And so I raised my hand, and I said, "Okay, well, then you must be thinking about direct mail, right? Obviously, you're going to start doing direct mail, right? Sending out postcards." And then he said something that really, messed with my head, right? And what he said was that, "No, I am not doing anything with direct mail. That I am going instead to focus on generating sellers completely 100% online." And I was like, "Really? Why? Why would you want it? I mean, why would you not want to do direct mail? What's up with that?" And he said, "Well, the problem is that whenever you can, you can go out and buy a list, and you can buy a mailing list, you can buy postcards, you can get postcards, you can go to a mailing house, and you can send out mail. It's so easy now than it was, even just a couple years ago. And so there's a lot of competition. I don't want to go into that and try to fight for the table scraps. I want to go where other people are not in right now." And so that made sense. And so that got me thinking, okay, I have to start considering this. So that led me to be here with you today, because what this is about is where is the best place for you to go out and generate motivated seller leads. And there really are three different places that you can go to generate motivated seller leads. By the way, this marker, it's called a Sharpie Magnum right there. And it is, let me tell you, it is the biggest, baddest permanent marker. This is like regular, big. This is Magnum right here. But the odor is so bad. So if I faint, just wait for me, okay? And I'll come back up. So there's a couple ways to, and I'm gonna see if I can zoom in. Let me zoom in here. Make sure you can look. I know it's not a formalized training, but I gotta entertain myself here. Otherwise it's very boring, and you don't want boring. All right, you want educational, plus you want some entertainment there. All right, so what are the options? All right, there's SEO, right? We know SEO, right? and then there's PPC, right? And then of course there's Facebook, right? I think you know where I'm going with this, right? So SEO, I've never been a fan of SEO, and a lot of people get deals from SEO, but the challenge that I had with SEO is that it wasn't scalable, right? And it took a long time. It took a long time to get going, and then once you got it going, if Google made a change in their algorithm, then, you know, all went out the window. Now you can start all over again. So I didn't want to do SEO, right? I didn't want to do SEO. Now, the next one is PPC. Now, PPC, you know, a couple years ago was relatively inexpensive, was easy to get into, but now the cost per lead on PPC is amazingly high. So you have to spend a lot of money in order to do PPC marketing. So it's very cost prohibitive. Also, you know, Google AdWords is a very complicated platform. Very complicated platform. I'm not running a lot of AdWords traffic right now, but in the past I was running up to $35,000 or $40,000 a month in AdWords traffic per month that I was managing myself. I was the one that was pulling all the levers and everything else, not in real estate, something else. And you know, the platform has even evolved since then, and it's very complicated. It's very complicated, not very user friendly. So now that leaves us to the other one, which is Facebook. And that's the reason I'm here to talk to you today, because I think that Facebook is a platform that you should consider. And you know what? It used to be that Facebook, just if you tried Facebook, maybe a couple of, even just as much as a year ago, wasn't up to speed. You were not going to get the results that you are going to get today. And the reason for that is that their algorithm has substantially increased in its power and its ability to really target. So they've done a couple things. Number one is that they have their algorithm now is substantially better. The machine learning associated with Facebook now is tremendous. Number one. Number two, they have really made strides in making their system user-friendly. They want you to spend money. They know that the only way you spend money is by getting results. And so therefore, they are doing their best to make it easy for you to get started with Facebook. And that's what I'm here to talk to you today about, how to generate leads on Facebook. Now, I'm going to take this here. I want to put this down here. And a tip, if you have one of these, don't crumple them up, because then it take up too much room in your garbage can, okay? See, you're getting lots of tips. You're getting SEO tips, you're getting online leads tips, you're getting tips on how to fold your thing here. And so the question would be is, hey, and also the fact is Facebook, another thing about Facebook is that their growth. I mean, my mom and my wife's parents don't have a computer. They don't own a computer, right? They're like, Google, okay, walk me through Google, right? But guess what they got? They got a phone, and they got a smartphone, and they got Facebook. So even though they're not online, for them, going online is Facebook. So think about that. Think about that. So our prospects are on Facebook. And so what I want to share with you today is really a process. I'll give you my tips on how to, what I call see? I told you, I'm not going to delete that. I got stuck. My brain got stuck. Let me just take a drink of water here, okay? How am I doing on time? I think I'm about 13 minutes or so. Gotta keep on looking at you guys, not the camera up there. So we got 13 minutes in. So here we go. One of the things. Okay, so how do we make, how can you have success on Facebook? Hinges on three things. Three things here, okay? We're gonna talk about number one, number two, and number three. Can you see that? Can you see that? Let me go back. Okay. You know, I wish they made this thing taller. That would be good. You know, maybe I'm just too tall, but I wish they made it taller. Here we go. Where's it go? Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, I think that's better. Let me see. All right. Okay. Number one comes down to expectations, right? You got to go in this with the right expectations. That's number one. I'm going to share with you what those are. All right, number two, I'm looking at my notes here. See, this is very unformalized. I don't even know if that's a word. I don't think that's a word, but it's a word today because I said it. If I say a word and it's not a word, but the fact that I said it today, it is a word. Just think about it. Then we're going to talk about targeting, right? Targeting. And then lastly, we are going to talk about the approach. What is the approach? You know, at this rate, I'm going to go through like 14 boards. if I write this. Expectations, targeting, and approach. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go ahead and go with the first one. Look at that. I'm already 15 minutes in, and on my first board, I'm going to save this here. Let me put this here. I don't know if you can see the background, but I got a lot of these all over the place here in my office. As you can see, there's one there in the background. Okay, all right. Keeping it real. All right, so let's talk about. Let me get my list here. I almost fell. That would have been funny, right? If I would have fallen on camera, I would have not have edited that because that would have been funny. All right, expectations. All right, so one of the biggest expectations is, and I think that this expectation applies to both online leads and also to your offline methods, right? Direct mail. You got to be aware of the fact that there is a cost to acquiring the leads, and there's an appropriate cost to doing a deal, and you have to take that into consideration. I get this all the time with people that are doing direct mail, doing postcards. They say, Chico, I sent out 500 postcards and I didn't get a deal. Your system sucks. It doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is a bogus list. And the fact is that if you spend $500, which means that, let's say you spent 40 cents a postcard on that. So let's just round it up to $250. You spend $250 and you're going to come back and you're going to tell me that this doesn't work because you didn't do a deal. And the fact is that a deal is worth, could be worth $5,000, could be worth $7,000, could be worth $20,000, $30,000. And so you have to be okay with spending a bit more money to get that lead. And number one, then the other part of it is that you have to be willing to, in any endeavor, there's always testing, there's always tweaking. Not every list works in every market, so you have to test the different lists and the different postcards and find that right combination. And it's the same thing here. You can't go into this thinking that you're going to go out and spend $10 a day for 3 days to try out Facebook and to see if it's going to work. And if it doesn't work after 3 days, and you're just going to go ahead and give it up. I'm going to tell you right now, you're wasting your time even trying this. If you're looking at it from that approach, you're wasting your time even trying even postcards if you're looking at it from the perspective of that. All right, so you have to be willing to come in and have the right expectations in terms of the money that's required and the budget. Listen, if your deal was worth $10,000, would you be willing to invest $1,000 to $1,500 in buying data and ads on Facebook in order to help you figure out a way to make this work in your market? And the answer is you should be. And if you're not looking at it from that perspective, then you're wasting your time. You are wasting your time, and so you should just stop right now and not stop watching this video, unless you feel that I'm entertaining. And so, hey, go ahead and watch it. So number one is expectations. So let's talk about the variety of the expectations, right, that we have. I'm going to write here CPL. Okay, that's one expectation. Then we have a budget, right? Budget. Okay. And then we have testing, right? Testing, okay? CPL, cost per lead. Let me see if I can bring that up here. Can you watch? Can you see that? I may have to bring that up. It's okay. Very high tech. I just, look at it. Look at this. I know I've had too much coffee. It's okay. All right, CPL, cost per lead. In PPC, cost per lead. Let me see if I could use this one here. It's just so difficult because it's so big. It is so big, this market. Google pay-per-click. Very easy to spend anywhere between $100 to upwards of $250 or more on leads. Very easy, okay? Direct mail, easy. $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 a lead for direct mail. All right, now, is it possible that you can get leads on Facebook for $5? It's possible. Now, but is it probable? I always give the example, and I always tell the story. Anybody I talk to, I said, look, there's a fine line between probability and possibility. Between possibility, I meant to say possibility first. There's a thin line between possibility and probability. All right, if I said, hey, is it possible for you to go out and play the lotto today? Is it possible, if you go out to play the lotto today, is it possible that you would go ahead and win the lottery? Yes, it is within the realm of possibility. However, is it probable? And you would say, no, it's It's not probable. All right. And so then you go into this with the best intentions, right? However, though, sometimes the numbers don't work out themselves to be in that way. So yesterday, working with some clients, I had a cost per lead of about maybe $6 per lead, right? And so other times, certain days that goes up, and certain days maybe I'm spending $15 a lead, right? And so you have to look at what is the average cost per lead, but also to have the right expectations around that. If you go into this thinking, for me, in order for me to deem Facebook to be viable, I have to spend $5 a lead. Otherwise, then it's not feasible. Then you're looking at your numbers all wrong, right? Because let's say hypothetically that the leads were, let's just say hypothetically that the leads were $20, right? As an example, and you had 100 leads that you worked through, and that means that you spend $2,000 on leads. But if your average transaction, right, is $10,000, would you spend $2,000 to make $10,000? The answer should be yes. In addition to that, these are highly qualified leads. So it's not as if you're getting, 100,000 calls and you got to sift and sort through a bunch of calls and chase people down. These are people that have raised their hand and said, yes, please talk to me. Talk to me. I want to sell my house. All right. In addition to that, so that's the thing you have to consider. Okay. That's the thing you have to consider, is having the right expectations about that. The second thing is your budget. Having the right budget in place. And I see sometimes people get advice in terms of Facebook of, hey, just build a budget of $3 a day or $5 a day, right? You're not going to get anywhere. There's a magic, now on the other side, you don't want to start off with a budget of $100 a day, all right? But the fact is that in order for Facebook's algorithm to work, it needs data. And so every time, if you have an ad, right, and then that person goes ahead and fills out a form on your website, this here is what's called, in Facebook eyes, a conversion. So that is a conversion for Facebook. Now, in order for Facebook's algorithm to do its thing, to work its magic, it needs a certain number of these, right, every day, every week, such that then it could make a determination of what are the type of prospects that are the best prospects for you, right? So if the average cost per lead here is $5, and I'm using that $5 as an example, and you say, I'm going to do a budget of $5 a day, right? And Facebook needs, ideally would be 5 of these a day, minimum 3. And if Facebook needs 3 and you're only giving it a chance to give you 1 lead per day, then it's never really going to stand a chance of working out for you. And so you need to increase your budget in a way so that now you have a chance. So what is the budget that I recommend as a starting point? I like a budget of $25 a day, all right, on a particular campaign or ad that you're working with, that you're targeting for you to at least have a chance for some reasonable data for success. And so if you take that and you multiply it by 3 days, and that's about $75, right? Maybe say by 4 days, so that's 100. So, about $100 across 3 to 4 days in order to gather data enough so that you can then now have a chance of analyzing and seeing if those results are what you're looking for or not. And so that's where the budget comes in. And then finally we talk into testing. Look, you're trying to do 2 things simultaneously when you're doing Facebook ads, and also this applies to direct mail. You're especially when you're starting out, you're doing 2 things simultaneously. Number 1 is, of course, you're trying to find a deal. You're trying to find a motivated seller so you can do a deal with and spend the least amount of money possible. Yes. However, you are also buying data. You are also buying data to determine what is going to work and what's not going to work. If you run this campaign and you spend $25 a day times 3 days, that's $75, and you get a deal, that's amazing. But if you don't get a deal, then that is not failure. That is test data. That is for you to know, okay, that approach didn't work. That didn't work as well as I would have liked it to have worked. So I got to go back and retool things and then go back and then retest that again. And then you will eventually, because the fact is that not every approach works in every market. Everybody's always looking for a coloring book. And anything they do, I want paint by the numbers, Chico. I want something step by step that I follow 1, 2, 3. And then what happens is that then if you expect number 1, number 2, it didn't work exactly as you said, Chico. Something is wrong. It's like, look, this is a guide. It's a guide for you to then follow and to, make adjustments. Make adjustments in terms of what's happening. Seek help. That's what mentors are for. You say, hey, look, I'm doing this, but it's not working. Well, try this, tweak that. That's a sign that needs to be changed slightly. The same thing here. You're buying data in a way for you to make those adjustments to be able to make the campaign successful. And that's it. That's what comes back to the very beginning when I said, look, if you're looking to come into this and spend $5, $10, $15, $20 for 3 days total, and then make a decision about whether or not this is going to work for you, you're wasting your time. So that's what I wanted to cover in the first one here, is having the right expectations. Okay, having the right expectations. So let's go to number 2. I'm going to save this just in case we need to go back to that. So number 2, I'll use a big marker for my titles here. What's number 2 here? No, that's number 1. Number 2 is tracking. Oh, no, that's not tracking. Targeting. So let's go for number 2. Number 2 is targeting. Because that's, okay, you said Chico. Okay, I understand. You got me. I got to put some money into this thing. How are you going to find these people? How are you going to find the sellers? Okay, so couple ways to find sellers on Facebook, right? Now, and again, to go into the weeds, into a lot of detail with this, we would be here for at least 2 hours. Okay, so I'm trying to give you the big picture so you understand what's going on. So in Facebook, you target by audience. You target by audience. And so then, what are the different audiences that are available? All right. So the different audiences that are available, right? Okay. And I'm going to put on here interest. There's geography, actually. I should have put that first, but we'll go back to geography. What? I can't spell geography. I'm having a mental block. I can't spell geography. Whatever. That's really strange. I don't know. That's very embarrassing. I hope we can overcome that. Okay, I'm not a fool. I'm not an idiot. Okay, hope you understand that. Why can't I spell that? That's having a real mental block on that. Okay, your list, right? Whatever list you have, and then I'm gonna call this lookalikes. That's really annoying that I can't spell that. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's talk about geography. Let's talk about these two together. So let's talk about. Okay. I'm not a one marker guy, okay? Because I have red. We're gonna put these two together right there. All right. So red, interest and geography. So geography is easy, right? What area are you going to target? What area are you going to target? I can tell you that there's a couple ways to target the area. You can drop a pin into a map and then expand out, right? That makes sense, right? Drop a pin in the middle of the map and say, I want to go out 25 miles. You can target by city. I prefer to target by zip code. So for me, geography is based around either one zip code or a group of zip codes, right? That we're going to say to Facebook, I want this area here, these set of zip codes here. Now interest here can be, is a couple different things. Now, first of all, with regards to, actually I'm going to cover a part of geography on my third item. So interest would be, for example, is you can give data to Facebook and say, look, I want to target homeowners, right? As an example, anybody who owns a homeowner, right? Facebook has something called likely to move. I want to target anybody that has likely to move, right? I also want to target. I'll give you an example. I want to target anybody who has shown an interest in refinancing, right? As an example, right? So there's a variety of different tools available and interest groups in order to target into to Facebook. However, it's a balancing act because you don't want to go out and say, I want to go and just target everybody in the whole entire county. Please show my ad to everybody. That's a problem. However, though, there's a balancing act, right? Meaning that you want to give Facebook some data to work with, but you want to allow for the algorithm to self-organize itself and to really self-select what are the best type of prospects for you. Because let's say that you put in all those three, right? Example, homeowner likely to move and somebody who's looking at refinance, right? So their interest has to include one of those. But if somebody who doesn't include that interest is gonna obviously not get served the ad. But what if you only put homeowner and somebody filled out the form requesting for you to talk to them about their property, and they had maybe homeowner, and they had another one that you may not have thought of. And so what happens is, let's suppose that they had homeowner and they had another type of demographic interest, and then you got another one that said homeowner and another type of demographic interest. But these here were not in your original list. But what Facebook does is it notices that you want this. It's noticing that, hey, these also people are very likely look like they're filling out the form. Let's go ahead and include those into the mix, right? And so then what you want to do is you want to give Facebook enough data so that you can have a chance of success, but not too much data that you are going to restrict the algorithm to a point where then it's going to be too restrictive, and you're not going to allow it to perform its magic. And so that's the one thing I would say is that interest is demographic, but also geographic, right? So in other words, if you just said homeowner and you want to go ahead and target the entire county, right? That's a more difficult way to get things working versus if you were to say, I want to target homeowners in the zip codes or in these, 3 sets of zip codes. And then now you have a smaller area that you're working with. So now you have a better chance of showing that ads to a smaller population, thus being able to put yourself in a position, at least get some positive results. And then from there, you can always expand out. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying not to get into the weeds, but it's tough for me. So we have interest and we have geography. Then the other thing that you can do is you can take your list of motivated sellers and you can upload it to Facebook. So let's say you're doing a direct mail campaign to absentee owners. You're mailing out 10, 20, 30,000 people. You can take that list, upload it to Facebook, and then target ads to those prospects. Depending on the list, you can get as much as, you can get 70%, 60% match. The more data it has, if it has phone numbers or emails, then that even increases your chances. But, think about this. You send out your direct mail. While that direct mail is going out, they're seeing ads on Facebook, okay? And again, it's layering in either A, they might see your ad on Facebook and not even respond to your postcard, or B, they might see your ad on Facebook and also get your postcard. And all of a sudden, now you got that 1-2 combination here. Now, in addition to the interest in geography, the other one is what's called lookalikes. And what a lookalike audience is that a lookalike audience has a couple different components. One of them is what's called a seed list. And so the lookalike audience is, and I'll explain it to you here. Let's say that you had a list, all right, let's say you had a list of pre-foreclosure leads. You had a list of pre-foreclosure leads that then you uploaded to Facebook. And so now what you can do is you can say, you upload that list to Facebook, and when you upload that list to Facebook, right? When you upload the lookalike list to Facebook here, when you upload that lookalike list to Facebook, then what Facebook does is it analyzes and it says, oh, you know what? This group of people, these are homeowners. They visited Zillow. They have visited also. They're looking at sites for refinancing, right? So they're getting a certain number of triggers that they've identified with this list. Now you can target the original list through ads. I don't think you could see that. You can target that original list through ads here. However, though, what you can do is you can tell Facebook and say, look, you've identified commonalities here. I want you to give me more of these people, right? I'm giving you a small list of these people, and the list, say 1,000 people, right? Then I want you to go out and I want you to go find me more of these people in the county that I'm working with, all right? And so then that way now I can go ahead and serve them ads. And so that's what a lookalike audience is. It's a lookalike audience. It's allowing Facebook to run its algorithm to then figure out what is going to work. Now, all these things that I mentioned, right? I mentioned the interest, the geography, right? Your list, the lookalikes, right? We talked about here, this is a testing protocol, because in the end, I always tell people is that, and this applies to anything. This applies even to direct mail. Oops, I thought I was going to drop this. This applies to even direct mail. Let me see if I can go in and zoom in just slightly here. Maybe. Okay. Maybe that isn't going to work. Okay. This applies to direct mail as well, is that in your market, right, you got to find the right recipe. In every market, direct mail, you got to find the right recipe, meaning that you're going to test, you have the list and you have the postcard, right? And you have the mechanism by which people respond, right? The mechanism. I don't even know if you can see that. So you have those three things, but you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. Okay, there you go. You have the list, you have the, let's say the postcard or the marketing piece, and you have the mechanism. So, you know, you have to find, and each of these have different ones, because you have the vacant list, the probate list, you have the pre-foreclosure list, and then you can have a regular postcard, a blind copy postcard, you can have a letter, and then you have how do people respond, by phone, by 24 recorded message, driving them to a website, etc. And so then what you got to do is you got to find that recipe that works in your area. So it may be that this list with that and with this mechanism, right? And then you might find another one that is that list with this thing here and that mechanism, and then now you find that perfect combination that works for you. It's the same thing with Facebook. It's the same thing with Facebook, is that you have to go into it. That's why I wanted to set the expectations properly in the very, very beginning, because you got to have a testing methodology that, look, this works. I know they're there. I have to methodically go through this process in order to test this out, in order to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. And that's what I'm getting at with this here. Now, let's go to the last one, because I am over my time, but hopefully this is interesting enough, and you've gathered enough information. Let's see, either way, what I should do is, let me go back, excuse me, let's put that here. Let's see, now we got this one here. I go through a lot of these, a lot. If you invest in 3M stock or their posted division. All right, number three. What we have is the approach. We're going to talk about number 3 is the approach. Boy, that marker is big. I know. You're going to go out and buy one of these suckers. I know. Right there. Approach. So, what is the approach? So, you have personal versus company, right? And you have local versus wide. And then you also have we'll call this Facebook versus landing pages. Okay? So, what do I mean by that? Let's go by each one individually. Personal versus company. So, many times, you have to understand that people do business. It doesn't matter the company. At the end, when they, you know, the company helps. If you have a great reputation, can't take anything away from that. But in the end, people do business with other people. And so then if you are, the question is, how are you going to present yourself out there? Are you going to present yourself as XYZ home buyers, we can buy your property for cash? Or you can present yourself as, hey, it's Chris and I buy houses. I like to buy yours. My opinion, this is my opinion, okay, is that I would err on the side of, oh, wait a minute, look what I got here. Green. I tell you, save green. Green's the money color. Green is the money color. So what I would do is I would focus on, let me see if I can zoom that in there. Okay. I would say I like the personal approach as the front, but then having a good company presence. The easiest way to have a great company presence, okay, in terms of the web, is and some of you are already familiar with this, but Trevor Mock's Uncarried website, very easy to get signed up with that. You need a great website that then you can use And I would recommend you register that domain to be your company, right? So XYZ Properties, that's that website, but you're gonna have your own personal presence, your own personal presence on Facebook as the, hey, I'm Cris and I want to buy houses. Now, that's my opinion. That's what's been working for us, and that's what I would recommend. So it is a front personal, but you still want that company, around it. And the Trevor's sites are a great way to do that. Number one. So now number two, local versus wide. What do I mean by that? When I say local, I mean that, look, you can target. Let's say that I'm in Miami. And I want to target looking for sellers in Miami. So I can say, hey, Miami homeowners, I'm looking to buy houses. That's a big net, right? And also then, it's too big. It's too big. So I recommend more localized. And what do I mean by that? The localized would be by either zip code or by neighborhood. So let's say, for example, in Miami, if I'm targeting a zip code 33147 as an example, or 33142 as an example, then that's Alapata neighborhood, right? So I can say, hey, Alapata is beautiful, or, attention Alapata homeowners. And so then target, I would specify on Facebook, I want to target that zip code and this zip code, and then knowing that, hey, those zip codes are in this neighborhood, and so I'm going to tailor a message around those prospects. Another way to do it is through a zip code, and say, look, you can say, I'm looking to attention, homeowners in zip code 33147. I'm looking to buy a few homes in your area, and would love to talk to you about yours. And so then now that's getting their attention, because they're like, oh, okay, they're looking, it's very much focused versus general. And so that's what I mean by local versus wide. To then try to look at, every market is different, right? Because that zip code that I just mentioned, 33142, isn't just Alapata, it's a bunch of different things, neighborhoods. And so then if I would just use that name under the ad, then I may not get the best results, because it's just there's too many other neighborhoods, especially in our neck of the woods, is too focused, too concentrated. So, but I could certainly do zip codes, and so I would recommend local versus wide, and it also works toward the budget. Look, if you're going to start this, and like, I'll give you the example of Miami. Miami's a huge area. Am I going to target Facebook ads for all of Miami, all of Broward County, all of Palm Beach? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to narrow that down and get a smaller group of prospects in the areas that I know that I consistently buy properties in. And let me work this in there. Let me tweak it. Let me test. Let me make it work there, because I know that if I send direct mail there, I'm always getting deals. And so I know that that's a good area. If I make it work there, then I can slowly then expand out into other areas, and I can scale it. All right. Now, so that's the local versus wide. And so then now the Facebook versus landing pages. So when somebody sees an ad, they have an opportunity to click on a button, and then what happens after the click? What happens after the click is a couple things. You can have an external landing page. They go from Facebook, they go to an external landing page. The challenge is that most people's landing pages really suck. They're horrible for conversions. And so you have to have the right landing page with the right words and the right structure in order for it to convert. Number one. Number two, your site has to be fast. Everybody on these ads is on mobile devices. Your site has to load in under 1 second. If it's 2 or 3 seconds to load and they're sitting there, they're just going to go back and just continue on with their, flicking through the news feed. And so you got to make sure that your site is fast. A lot of variables in there to make that work. So for me, I don't recommend going ahead and going with landing pages. I recommend going with Facebook, and by that I mean that Facebook has a tool called Lead. You could create a form. They're called lead ads. And so then therefore now what you can do is, at the minute somebody clicks on the button to learn more, a form is populated. You got to make sure that you're asking enough information, but not too much information, because if you're going to ask for everything, how many bedrooms, how many baths, the square footage, and all that other stuff, then they're not going to fill out the form. But it already has pre-populated their email, their phone number on the app, because it's Facebook has that information. And then now all they have to do is just loads up really quickly. They click on the button, the information is submitted, and now you have to then take that and push it into your CRM wherever you're using. I can't get involved with that particular topic right now. But in the end, that's what you got to do. That's what I would recommend doing. Also, from a technology implementation perspective, you could very easily get a site from Trevor on Carrot, and then you can go ahead and then have lead ads. And because what happens is that just from a funnel perspective, somebody sees the ad. Can you see that? Can you see that? Let me see. Somebody sees the ad, and then they go ahead and then they click on the Facebook lead form here, and then they fill it out. And then once they fill it out, there is a second page of this that has a little button that says view website. And so then they have an opportunity to go view your website. This would be great to have a actual great looking converting website, because now they're going to see that, oh yeah, this is credibility, right? But you collect that information inside of Facebook first, and then you move it from there. And that's my my recommendation on how to work the 3 different approaches: personal versus company, local versus wide, and Facebook versus landing pages. So I hope that with this training, you understand that, hey, I'm not telling you to just completely eliminate everything that you're doing and then focus on this. But I am telling you that, look, it makes sense to at least start to experiment, to try to put this into play into what you're doing, so that now you can then tap into this other lead source here. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the training. I hope you stuck all the way to the end, because if you're watching me, then obviously you did that, so I appreciate that. And again, if you go to CrisChico.com/Facebook, CrisChico.com. My name is, there's no H in Chris, by the way. So CrisChico.com/Facebook. I'm going to give you a copy of my digital bandit sign, so you can see exactly what it looks like and you can use it yourself. And again, remember, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell, so the next time I publish a new video, you can be notified. Talk to you soon.